Well, it's kind of I got a tight schedule today, Gus. I've got to find time to do this in between reorganizing my vinyl and watching old episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. So this is, it's a tight schedule here, and we got. I just had this limited window, so no,
Yeah,
man.
thanks. Thanks
That's
for
kind of
taking
what
the
it's come
time.
to, man. What's been up? Have you been able to keep busy over there? At least you got some interviews to do, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it was like I was doing fuck all for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, all the interviews came in, and I was happy because I'm like, well, I can talk to people and see how's everybody doing, and of course, talk about the album and get some feedback finally. And but yeah, I mean, I've been on lockdown for more than 3 weeks now, so yeah.
how are things over there in Greece? I assume it's pretty similar to everywhere else. Just kind of waiting and
Yeah,
see game, I guess, right?
yeah. It's been like that. I mean, we started pretty early with the lockdown situation, and then just all the restrictions and all that stuff. And luckily, the numbers are very low here. We don't have many fatalities, So I think 75 people dead.
Oh,
So that seems like nothing compared to what you hear from Italy, Spain, or even like places like New York right now. And um, so yeah, I mean, it's there's not a lot of confirmed cases or nor many deaths here, but still we are keeping tight with all these measures, and everybody's doing their part, and that's how it should be for now. I'm just basically, I mean, I'm sure everybody is. We're monitoring the news and see what's happening, and it's going to take a little bit while longer than what we think.
well, you're right, and I tell you, it's maybe though good timing for the release of this new album coming up here in May, because for one, I just got done previewing it. It is tremendous. Great
Thanks.
follow up to Immortals, which I was a huge fan of as well. But this is a great time to be releasing new music. I think people are more receptive to delving into new albums and checking things out. So this is going to be perfect, and this album is tremendous. Kind of take us through the recording process here, because you've called this kind of a new beginning for Firewind. So kind of take us
Hmm.
into all that and the recording process for this album, and maybe the timing being good for you guys here.
Yeah, sure. You know what? I want to hope the same thing, like what you said. Maybe I want to hope that it's a good time for people to sort of, dig into some music and pay more attention, because everybody's kind of like forced to stay in now, so nobody's kind of like living the life in the fast lane, so to speak. So, um, but the album was recorded actually since we started recording last summer. It was done in various studios. We did the drums in Germany at Hoffa Studios, and then everything else was done more or less in our home studios. Because I have like a studio here, and I do all the guitars and keyboards and all those things. And Herbie, the new singer, he has his own studio as well, so he did his vocals there. Um, yeah. So yeah, it took a while to complete. Obviously, like you mentioned, it's a new beginning. There was a lineup change in the midst of the production. We were recording, and then we went out on tour with Queensryche here in Europe and UK. And while this was a fantastic tour, things between the band were not with the previous lineup. It was they were not really ideal anymore, and everybody started sort of moving into different directions. And so when I came back home, I thought, well, there's no way this album is going to be finished with with the way this band is going. So I thought, well, I might as well take a defining decision right now. So yeah, I decided to get a new singer and start looking for somebody, and see who could have come in and help me finish this album. So that's how Herbie came into place.
Yeah, talk about what he's brought to the band. I mean, I think his vocals, he's got this amazing style, kind of gravelly vocals that fit perfect kind of with the musical direction of this album. But I read somewhere that you had seen him on YouTube or something. I mean, that seems all very common these days. Back whenever it happened to Journey, you're like, they found a singer on YouTube, and now it's kind of commonplace almost.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because I had heard of. I never met Herbie before, but we had Firewind had played a festival in Spain with his previous band, Sinbreed, and I was like, yeah, 2013, and I remember checking out that band, and I was like, wow, what a great singer! You know, he would have fit great for Firewind. Uh, but anyways, after that, back then we went on a hiatus. But anyhow, fast forward to last December, and I reach out to the label, and I'm like, well, you know, this is inevitable, and we have to make a change in the singer. And do you know anybody you can suggest? And they're like, Herbie Langans, and they sent me a bunch of links, and I check him out on YouTube, and immediately I thought, well, wow, that's the guy from Sinbreed. It had been so many years, I didn't know what he was up to and stuff. So I checked out all his projects, and I'm like, wow, he's great. Can you put us in touch? And that was it. The label put us in touch, and then everything went pretty fast from there, man. Like I sent him some material to check out. He tried singing a couple of the older songs, and then like I sent him a newer track and one of the new riffs that I was working on. And the first song we wrote was Devour, and we went from there. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the first things that stood out was the production. When I first saw the video for Rising Fire, it's like the production was so good. And then I kind of dug a little deeper and found out that it was mixed by Tobias Lindell, the Swedish engineer. And I just noted that the new Heat album is one of the best produced albums I've heard in years. And it's the same guy that's done both albums. So this is, you get kind of the royal treatment here, because I don't know what he's doing or what is so what his style is, but that is a key part of this here. It's just sounds so good and so clean.
I will agree with you. I think Tobias brought this fresh element to our sound. Like he made the band sound like he gave us this punchy, huge production. He comes from a hard rock background. He did like mixes bands like Europe and Avatar and stuff like that, and and Heat, of course, and maybe like if you think, oh, a power metal band maybe will not fit this type of mixing treatment, but well, it's there, and it sounds great on our record, and we have Tobias to thank for that.
Well, of course, on the unfortunate side of this, we talked about a good timing for releasing new material, of course, and the album is tremendous, and we just congratulations on it, and we hope just the best for this thing. But you were supposed to kick off your tour, May 14th with Symphony X and Primal Fear, and obviously that's going to be postponed until 2021, as every tour and show probably is going to be. So it's just. So unfortunate. This is such a great bill. Kind of just, obviously we think we're going to get to see this sometime in the future. So just kind of talk about how this bill got put together and these tremendous bands on the same bill. We can't wait to see it.
Well, it all came through our booking agent, because all three bands are the same agency. And they told me about this idea, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. I mean, if the opportunity is there for us to join this tour, we'd love to do it. And soon enough, we had the package together, and then it was announced, and it was great because I thought, what a way to kick off an album campaign. Start like that. Opening for a great package like this, and then go on to do the rest of the world. And then we even had plans to come back to the States next year on a second run. And of course, everything is messed up now. Everything is postponed. So I mean, the way that I look at it, nothing's going to probably happen this year, touring-wise. But that's just the way things are. It's a reality for everybody, not just for us. And I'm just waiting to find out what the new dates are going to be for this postponed tour. Yeah.
It's something that it's like I take for granted. I mean, I do this all the time. I'm out on the road and at concerts and shows all the time. And it's like, man, when this stuff shuts down, you take for granted how freely you were able to go to a concert, to play a show, to be it's unbelievable. And that's kind of been the hardest part for me. And I don't
Yeah.
know, like, like when that's going to be able to happen again, you know? So if it never happens again, my last show was Y&T in early March. So I guess that could be
Oh
worse,
wow.
but
Yeah, yeah.
but it's just tough. It's hard. It's like, it's such a part of all of our lives. You as musicians, us as, fans and members of the media, man, this is tough. Not being able to go to a concert on a whim,
Yeah,
it sucks.
it's it does because that's the real interaction that we all looking for, like playing for people and then getting that energy in the venue and just I mean that's this for me this has been just my life since I was 21, 22 years old, since I was really young. um, I can't really imagine life without touring again. But you know what? I don't want. I want to look at the. I look things at, from a positive
Yeah.
side. I don't think this is going to be like this forever. Obviously,
No.
things will get back to normal. Maybe in the beginning it might be people will be hesitant and more mindful, and hopefully we will all learn a lesson through this. But I'm sure there will be shows again. Absolutely.
Of course, and everybody definitely keep up with all the news and when the tour dates are announced. Of course, on the band's social medias, but firewind.gr can also get all the info on how to go ahead and pre-order the album. You can do that right there on the site, and it's album is tremendous. It's called Firewind. It's a tremendous follow-up to Immortals. Gus, I got to ask you because I mean this has been a 20-year journey for you. This is your project. This Firewind is in your blood. So
Yeah.
20 years of this, and kind of compare the gratification of what you've done creatively with your time with Ozzy Osbourne, because it's such a different deal. You're playing with a hero of yours, but creatively you're up there to just sort of play the music. You're available for spot gigs whenever, but Firewind has been your animal all this time. So kind of compare what those two have been like for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, Fireman has been my baby since the beginning, and it's just it has been my musical vision, and I've been maturing with this band, all these years, as a songwriter, as a player, so you can hear the progress through all the records, and it's a very different thing from playing for somebody like Ozzy Osbourne. Whereas, I mean, sure, that's like the biggest gig any guitar player can ever have in rock and roll. But it's like my role there was to play guitar. So it was like in that sense, I was like a hired gun. You know what I mean? Um, so it was a totally different beast, and I learned a lot of things from doing gigs like that. But then, of course, after that, you go back you leave a gig like that and you go back into doing your own thing ultimately. um is never I've never set out to be like a hired gun and play for somebody else. That's why when I stopped working with Ozzy, I went back into Firewind. It's just to me it just that's my safe place. That's where I can go there and create what I like, and I know there's a fan base out there that likes it and supports it for all these years. And so yeah, this is my 100% comfort zone.
Absolutely, and you think about replacing Zach Wild, kind of following in the lineage of Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, like you said, one of the best gigs in rock and roll. Was there a lot? Did you feel a lot of pressure with that, and maybe even relief when it came to an end and you could go back to Firewind?
um it was I mean, look, it was intimidating. I would be a liar if I said it wasn't. It was a lot of pressure. Look at the guys that were there beforehand. So but I'm the kind of guy also who is up for a challenge, and I just said, I'll do my best. I'll do the best I can. This is the time to this was like the big moment. You kind of like, you have to be prepared for when a big moment like this comes in your career. So of course I had to take that opportunity and try to evolve and try to do the best I can. So I only have the best memories, the best things to remember from my time with Ozzy. Yeah.
So I always found this interesting because I'm such a fan of, well, really any area of the Scorpions. You were obviously heavily influenced by Uli John Roth, and it was a big inspiration for the name of the band, Firewind.
Absolutely, yeah.
Talk about that because it's so strange. You have kind of two segments of people. It's those that know Scorpions only as 80s Scorpions, Blackout, Rock You Like a Hurricane. And then there's people like yourself. I think Lars from Metallica that look at the 70s Scorpions as sort of the pinnacle for them. Talk about what specifically kind of about Uli's style that influenced you so much.
It was just the whole the whole approach to guitar, when he soloed, like the vibrato he had, the phrasing, the melodies, the whole thing with, he was classically influenced, but he could also play, like Jimi Hendrix, and so you heard all those things there. And it was, when I heard that when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is how I would probably want to express myself through the guitar as well. So that's why he became such a big influence on me. Yeah.
Well, and the guitar is such an interesting thing to me as someone that's a non-player. When you look at classically trained players, you've got players like Ace Frehley that never learned how to read music, and then you look at the Scorpions in themselves, the Shankers, Michael Schenker, who's style and just for days, and then someone like Rudolph Schenker, who's more of a rhythm player, of a riff guy. I mean, when you look at those two, like I know you, Michael was a big influence on you as well. Just kind of talk
Absolutely.
about
Yeah.
those guys. Like it's such a weird dichotomy. And that's just two brothers that have such a different style, but yet so
Yeah.
influential. Both of them are both so influential, but different.
Yeah. One is an influential guitar player as a player, stylistically, and the older brother is influential as a, I mean, he wrote some of the biggest rock songs we ever heard, so he's just an amazing songwriter. Um, so I'm actually influenced by both Schenker brothers. I
Yeah.
it's like if you can you take, like, if you can take the lead playing of Michael, and then, like, can you write a big song like Rudolph can? If you can combine those two, then you're golden. So but it's hard, but it's everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and it's I like different things about different guitar players, so when I listen to, when I think of Rudolf Schenker, I'm not thinking oh wow, he plays such a great fast pentatonic licks or something, or his modal phrasing is so insane. I think more like, wow, that you know the I don't know, like he Rock You Like a Hurricane is just such an iconic song. I mean, how do you come up with such a monster riff like that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you think of different things when you hear different players, and that's what's so fascinating.
Absolutely. I tell you what, Gus, it's been such a pleasure. We're gonna let you go with our final four drum roll, which is four quick questions, and you give us a quick answer, whatever comes to mind.
All right.
All right. So obviously we talked about it. We know touring will return. It will happen. But say in some magical, horrendous world it did not. What would have been the last show you've attended as a fan?
Oh, I don't remember. What was it? Shit.
Well,
I don't remember. It was something last year here in Thessaloniki, where I live. Probably, what show did I go to?
well,
Oh,
you've been busy. You've been on stage playing shows in Europe and all
yeah.
over the
It's
place.
like
So it's
I
forgiven
remember. I
if you don't.
remember. Yeah, I remember what show I played, but I don't remember what show I went to. Maybe it was God damn it! It was. You know what? It's all a blur right now. I don't remember.
You're right. You know what? That's completely forgiven. Okay, so next one, new Firewind album. Which previous Firewind album would you compare this most closely to?
Possibly Allegiance, because of the variety of the songs in the track list.
Oh, good. Absolutely. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good one. What is the first album that you remember buying, purchasing with your own money?
I remember it was probably Either it was a Racer X vinyl or Cacophony vinyl, and they were on sale at a local record shop. It was like, yeah, like a third of the price or something, and I didn't have that much money on me. I was saving up, so yeah, and I bought that. Yeah, it was either Racer X Second Heat or Cacophony Go Off. It's
Oh,
it was from
awesome.
the yeah, it was from the shrapnel scene from the '80s. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I love Racer X. So since we aren't sure of what your last concert was, maybe you will recall what your first ever concert was. What was your first concert you ever attended?
Yeah, actually, it was quite interestingly. It was the Eagles at the Hell Freezes Over reunion tour in '94 in Miami at the Orange Bowl Stadium, and
Yeah.
I was there. I was in the States that summer because I was visiting some family because my uncle lives there in Miami, and I was spending the summer with my uncle, and yeah, he had tickets to go to see the Eagles, and it was great.
That's amazing. That venue has been torn down since then. So it's like a landmark. I think that stadium should still be there, but it's unfortunately it is no more. It's great
It's
memory
not there.
there. Yeah, it's torn down. They have a new one. That I'm a big Chiefs fan. We just won the Super Bowl in the new stadium in Miami. So, another story for another day. That's back when there were things like sports and entertainment you could just go to on a whim.
Yeah,
That was two
exactly.
2 months ago. It was crazy. Gus, man, thank you so much for being a part of the Music Mania podcast here. It's been a true pleasure, my friend. Best of luck with the new album. Again, go to firewind.gr. You can pre-order it right now. It comes out here May 15th. Gus G, thanks so much, my friend. Stay safe, stay healthy, my buddy.
Thank you. You too, Clint. Thanks
You
for
bet.
having me.
You bet. Thanks a lot.